I'm Jay. I am the Managing Director at Launch.
And I'm Becky, and I look after the social media advertising accounts at Launch Online.
And today we are going to be talking to you about getting up to speed with some of the latest tips to boost your advertising on Facebook. So Becky, talk to me about the 8 things we're going to learn about Facebook today.
Yep, so I've put together 8 little kind of Facebook pointers that you can go into your kind of Facebook ad account and have a look if you're doing any of these things. So yeah, let's dive straight in and we'll go to pointer number 1. So this is quite an important one. So when you're creating your ads, in the ad set level, you select the placements you want your ad to go on. So for example, the Instagram Newsfeed or the Instagram story feed. And if you select automatic placements, it will automatically select the audience network. Now, what you want to make sure that if you do select this, you want to make sure kind of where your ad is showing, because your ad might be showing on like game apps and getting quite a lot of accidental clicks. So you kind of might be wasting a bit of your budget. So to check, if you have selected the apps and sites, just check where they're going. So how to do this is on the next slide. So what you do is you'll go into your business manager, go to your ad account, go into settings, and in brand safety, you can select delivery reports, and you just select your ad account, you select the audience network, and it will show you here all the different kind of apps or sites that your ads might be showing on, and you can kind of block. So let's say, for example, it was showing on Funky Fish app. I've made that up, but you can block it from showing on that game. So this is a really important one to check, just to make sure you're not getting any accidental clicks like from children on your phone. So just, and a bit of a brand safety one as well. Just check your ads aren't showing on any sites and apps you don't want them to show. So that's a really big point. If you're selecting automatic placements, just check kind of where they're showing, go into your business manager, go into brand safety, go into delivery reports and see where they're showing up.
That's brilliant. And especially if an advertiser is looking to scale, I mean, actually selecting the audience network can really expand their reach, but it's just about keeping an eye on it, making sure that that budget is going where it should be. That's a great tip, Becky. What's next on the list?
Okay, so the next one, this is actually really important, and I find quite a few people don't look at this. So when you're in your ad set level, you can go into the little inspect tool. It's a little magnifying glass, and you can see some really funky graphs. And the first one here is your kind of auction competition. So this is saying, let's say you're looking at campaigns and the costs are going to a bit sporadic. You can go in here and see if something's going on. So if the competition is high, you can go in here and see. So Facebook have a kind of, I don't know, anything between like -20 score and a +20 score is kind of average, is okay. If you have anything outside that, that means something's going on, and you might want to adjust your kind of your audience. So just go in here, see what your auction competition is, and it might kind of explain any high costs, basically. So for example, around Black Friday, Christmas, you'll expect to see this on like the higher side of things.
Or if you've had a really good performing campaign, suddenly you get a blip, rather than pausing it immediately, you can take a look, well, is it just that the competition is increased? Let's see if we can ride it out.
Yeah, so I think running up to half term and school holiday periods, for example, you might see your costs start to increase. It doesn't mean your campaign's performing badly. It just means that competition might just be slightly higher at that time. So before you do anything drastic to your campaigns, just go in here and just check what's going on, basically. The next one is the audience saturation. So this is related to your frequency. So your frequency is how many times your ad has been shown on average to a person in a time period. So let's say, for example, I'm on my phone, I've seen an ad from the same company like 5 times in a day. I'm going to find that really annoying. And what it means is as your frequency goes up, your costs go up. So you want to go in here, check what your kind of frequency level is and see if your costs are going up. Now, that's not always the same. Like if you're in a flash sale period, you need your frequency to be quite high. So again, just something to keep an eye on. If your frequency is really high, you might start to see a decline in your performance. So again, go in here, check that, either reduce your budget, increase the audience size. Is how to combat that one.
Great, that's a great tip.
And the last one is audience overlap. And this is really important at the moment. As Facebook, we move into this more kind of advertising world of broader audiences and less niche audiences. If you're using more niche audiences, you kind of find that your audience overlap might start to increase. So just go in here and just check what your audience overlap is. So for example, let's say I have a few campaigns. Let's say I'm a coffee company. I might have one ad set which is specialty coffee, like niche coffee interests, and another ad set which is more kind of supermarket brands. At the moment, you might find that actually those two ad sets are kind of competing against each other. You've got people in the same groups, and you can just check in here, are you competing against yourself in your advertising accounts, basically? And if you are, you can combine the ad sets. So yeah.
And I suppose that's kind of in that transition from going old school approach where you'd have like a lot of audiences that you're targeting to now this broader approach. You can then make sure that that overlap isn't happening too much and to combine those audiences together.
Yeah. You know, we used to have lots of different audiences and niche little markets and campaigns, but over the last few years, you know, Facebook is saying, go a bit broader, let our machine do the work. So yeah, so try that, start to move away and go into your bigger audiences and just keep an eye on this audience overlap tool and just see, you know, are your old ad sets actually starting to, you know, overlap? Are people in the same kind of groups? And if they are, yeah, go a bit broader.
Good tip.
Okay, on to number 3. This is quite a new one this year, a little bit related to kind of your frequency level. So this is Facebook saying, okay, this person's, you know, getting a bit bored of seeing that same creative. So check this. If it says creative fatigue, you can either add more creatives to your ad set or just expand your audience. It's just another way of saying, okay, actually, people are getting a bit bored of that creative, add some new ones or increase your audience size from stop people seeing the same thing over and over again. So,
and this is something that you've really had at the heart of a lot of your strategies this year, is trying to up that creative, you know, try new things. And I suppose this is Facebook kind of agreeing that brands need to focus more on their creative.
Yeah, if you think, you know, our attention span is, you know, so poor now and you want that creative to be fun stopping, you know, you want us to be scrolling through your feed and go, oh, that's interesting. And the higher click-through rate, the lower your cost. So your creative is really, really important and it should be number 1 in your ad account.
Great tip. What's number 4?
So number 4, we have, so again, this is new. And this is really to protect your brand on Facebook. So again, you can go into your brand safety in your ad account and you can exclude your ads from being shown to people that have engaged with any of these 4 things. So news and politics, social issues, crime and tragedy. So go to brand safety and you can tick the boxes. It just helps protect your brand and stop, you know, your ads from being shown to people that are engaging with those topics if you don't want them to. So it will depend on your brand and, you know, your brand guidelines and who you are, but that's worth something to consider. Yeah.
And this is important, especially if you've got the audience network expanded, because you can appear on news sites, can't you? And I suppose this will put a stop to that.
So number 5. So we have this approach at launch and many other agencies, and it really comes down to that sales funnel. So top of the funnel, you've got people that don't know you and you want to get them to go into your website. So those people, you might not choose conversion objectives straight away. They might not, like say if you're a holiday company, it's very unlikely they're going to see your advert and book straight away. So you might go after them with kind of landing page views objectives first. So get them going to your site for a cheap cost. But another way you can get traffic to your site, which is a bit more qualified, is by setting up kind of in Tag Manager, more qualified events. So instead of saying, right, landing page views objective, let's get them to the site, they might bounce off the site, you know, fairly quickly. If you say, let's set up this event in Tag Manager, they've got to stay on the site for this much time, they've got to scroll for this long, it just means that person's a little bit more engaged. So it's worth trying and comparing against maybe your landing page views compared against something like this, which is a bit more targeted. And again, just experiment. It's just quite an interesting one. It will be a conversion campaign though. So instead of selecting traffic as the objective in Facebook, you'll be selecting conversions and then this micro conversion. It'll just be interesting to see kind of, do those people then, are they more likely to purchase of you? Are they staying on the site longer? Are they kind of a more kind of qualified person? So just one thing to try, really.
And so then Facebook will then be optimizing the campaign for the people who are responding as much as possible to that action. So like scroll down is a great idea, because if you're sending traffic to a blog post, you can actually make sure that they're getting partway through the article.
Yeah, and same if you've got an embedded video, you could say, okay, they have to watch this longer embedded video. So it's just a better way of qualifying that kind of traffic audience a little bit more. It might be a bit more expensive, but in the longer run, it might be better for conversions. So
that's a great tip. Yeah. What's number 6?
So this is one. So in Facebook, you've got all these amazing kind of metrics you can measure, but if there's not one there, you can create custom kind of conversion metrics. So just go in to your ads manager, go in columns, and you can create a custom metric. For example, here I've created the save rate, which is post saves divided by impressions, and it's the calculates as the percentage of shares for each ad impression. So you can kind of create your own little metrics if they're not there in the platform. So let's say your CEO wants to know something and you can't find it as an automated metric. See if you can actually create it yourself. So yeah, just go to columns and then customize new metric.
That's nice. Brilliant. What's number 7?
Number 7. So this is really handy. I think it's one of everyone's Facebook advertisers' favorite tool is the Facebook ads library, where you can kind of type in your competitor and see what ads they're running. But you don't have to be as specific as the kind of brand. You can actually type in holidays and it will come up with a load of ads relating to holidays. So it's just a better way of getting a rough idea of the whole competition rather than specific people. So yeah, if you want to search, I know what coffee companies advertising, you just put coffee or, coffee companies rather than a specific brand like Nescafe or whatever. So yeah.
And I think this is a really good way for brands to understand what like-minded brands are doing, maybe not even competitors, but what else your customers are seeing within Facebook, and get a bit of inspiration, things you like, you don't like. It also helps you to see how many people are using video and variations of creative as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it can give you really great ideas on creative and just see what's happening. I think especially if you're a smaller brand, you can kind of see what those big brands doing who have those huge budgets for design. You can be a bit cheeky and go, oh yeah, that's a good idea. So definitely a good tool to look at.
But we're not saying plagiarize.
No.
What's your final tip for us today, Becky?
And the final one is Facebook is changing all the time. The ad platform is changing all the time. It can be a nightmare to keep up with what's going on. Just a really small tip that people don't realize is there is in your ads manager, you've got the little question mark on the bottom left, and you can click on that and you can look at ad manager updates and it will give you a list of things that have happened this week or upcoming. So it's just, if once a week, go in there, see if they've updated anything. Just, really handy tool just to keep an eye on what's going on, because it is changing all the time. Every time I log in, they've changed something. So keep up to date. Just use that little question mark tool and read about what's going on in the latest Facebook updates. So yeah,
it's really handy. Those are quite advanced tips. That's beyond just the ads interface, isn't it? It's looking a little bit deeper, where maybe even campaigns are already working well. How can you supercharge them? Or when something is going wrong, why that might be the case. So those are 8 great tips. Which is your most important, Becky, would you say, out of all of those tips?
Oh, I use them all every day. I think they're all really important. I'd say at the moment, your brand safety is extremely important. So I'd say check your delivery reports, check where adverts are showing, exclude certain placements if you're a brand that needs to be very protective of your brand. So I'd say those are really, really important. Those are the kind of beginning couple of slides. Just have a look, see where your ads are showing. And if you're a smaller company, you don't want to be wasting money on game sites as well, like accidental clicks from children. So those first couple I'd say are really important.
Thanks very much, Becky. We hope that you found these tips useful. We've popped a link below for you to download the slides so that you've got them for reference. And please do follow us at Launch Online UK for more tips and updates. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Bye.